We're alive. Thank you very much, the people joining. We are coming alive here in HOD Radio Network and LinkedIn Audio Room. Thank you, Alison, to be here. Can you hear me?
I'm hearing you, Jose, and yes, you're welcome.
Okay. Yeah, let's wait a little bit. The people begin to come, and here in the LinkedIn and HOD Radio Network. So I see some people joining in Facebook too. So let's wait a little bit to begin this.
Okay.
Hello, Platin. How are you? We're waiting that the people begin to join, so we're waiting a little bit. Hello, indeed. How are you? Hey, how are you? Dr. Ashad, thank you for being here. Chanel, thank you for being here. We're waiting that people begin to join to begin the. Charito, hello, Charito. Welcome being here. Let's start so that the people begin to join in. Well, thank you for the people joining here. We're doing this show. It's a radio talk show. Julie Gutierrez, thank you for joining here in HOD Radio Network. So we're doing this simultaneously in a radio network channel called HOD Radio Network. It's a Christian channel. Thank you, Daniel Okawale, that he always is here. He's the administrator of the channel. And at the same time, we're doing here in a LinkedIn audio room. So this show, we do it every Monday morning. It's called Building Resilience. The way we do this show, for the people that are joining new, is that every week, we choose a topic related to leadership and resilience, because I'm a leadership and a resilience coach. But I write my newsletter during the weekend with a topic that is being selected. And what I do is that on the Monday morning, as of today, we develop the topic. What we do, the first thing is we talk about what we already wrote in our newsletter. So we encourage the people that if you have not subscribed to my newsletter, I'm gonna let the links there so you can have the newsletter talking about this topic. And then when you come to the show, we open the mics in the half of the show, so we give opportunities of the person to share their own visions, their own stories related to the topic, and try to do it in a very interactive way. So beginning the show, thank you, Platin, to being here. Indira, very good friend. Dr. Ashad, it's always very, very nice to have you here. Charito, Alan Roberts, Mike's, Nancy Anderson, and Michael, thank you for being here. Also, we have in Facebook, we have Santel, we have William, we have Danielle, we have Janet, and we have Mike. Crown Impact Love, we have Trisha, we have Anne, we have Morris, we have Lamara, Harmon, we have Light Eyed, Tara, and Danielle. So, well, thank you for all the people that have been joining. So, what is going to be today's topic? Our topic today is called the 5 critical leadership mistakes that can destroy a company and how to avoid it. We have been talking during the last week about situations that are happening in companies. So I always talk about the 5 topics, because 5 is a good number. It's very easy to remember. So I always talk about 5 topics. So today I'm going to talk is the 5 critical leadership mistakes and how to avoid it. We also put a case study, and we try to mention authorities on the matter, and then we open the mics. So this is the way we're gonna begin this. So let's deep dive in what are the 5 critical leadership mistakes. The first one that I'm going to begin to talk here is what is called lack of vision. Sorry. What is the lack of vision? Well, as the word says, when you're in any business, a company or whatever, if you're the leader, typically the visionary leaders are those who has a clear vision where they want to head the company, where they see themselves in the future. So that gives you the clear vision that you can communicate to your employees, and that gives you direction. So you can guide them and give them direction. In the contrary, if you have lack of vision, what that means that you don't have clarity where you want to go, and you lose the sense of the purpose, and of course your employee doesn't have direction. So this is a very terrible situation, and it's one of the biggest mistakes that the people do in a business, that because of the lack of vision, it's like a ship that is in the middle of the ocean navigating by their own, no direction, so it's lost. So that is one of the biggest challenge for the leadership, because when you have lack of vision, you fail to communicate. You don't have a strong vision, and that is really terrible, because you, in a changing market, you cannot adapt to the market because the people are lost. They don't know how to deal with the situation, and it's terrible. It's a very terrible situation. How can we avoid having a lack of vision? Well, the first thing is that you need to first have clarity in where you want to be. If you're the leader, the first question that you have to do to make to yourself is where you want to be, where I want to be in the future, what are my goals in the short term, and in the objectives in my long terms. So you need to understand where you want to be. When you define where you want to be, you have to have a clear communication with your team. You have to communicate exactly what is your vision, and they can understand where you're going with this. And you have to be sure that they understand you. That you have to be sure that they understand that. So you have to encourage your team to have their own feedback, have their own input, and that will make that you can share your vision, and now you're having purpose. Now you have a purpose where you want to go. So this is one of the way we can avoid that lack of vision. Having clarity in where you want to be, clarity in the way you communicate it, and clarity in the way you have interaction and feedback from them. So now everybody is aligned to the purpose, and that's what is going to make a business that can success. Okay. The second biggest mistake that somebody can make in any business is micromanaging. The micromanaging is when the leader undermines the autonomy of the team. He's always in top of the team, trying to control everything. And this is another one of the terrible mistakes that any leadership does. And it's very common, by the way. It's very common having people that are in leadership position, because some leaders believe that if they are on the top of everything and are involved in everything, they have control of everything. And that is a big mistake, because now you don't giving autonomy to your employee. You're in top of them. You're always undermining them, and that makes a terrible situation in the company, because now the people feel that they are not valued, because you don't trust them. And this is a really, really a terrible way of leaderize. So when you do this, it creates a great frustration in the employees. Really, the employee gets a frustration, and that, as a consequence, it will lower the productivity. Because if the employees feel frustrated, that you don't trust them, that will reduce the productivity. So it's a very terrible situation that is more common than can you believe. So how you can avoid the micromanagement? The first thing is that you need to delegate. A leader has to understand that he needs to delegate. Delegate and build up trust. And build up trust in your team. And not only build up trust, give them the opportunity to take their own decision. And if they fail, sometimes that's okay, because it's part of the learning process. So now you're building that relation with employee. They feel that they have more autonomy. They feel that they can take decisions. And believe me, it's going to create a better workplace, because now the people feel that they are valued. That creates loyalty. That creates a challenge, adaptability to the innovation, because now the employee always is try to think ahead, because he knows that he's been taken in consideration. So this is one of the ways that you can avoid the micromanagement. And you have to set clear expectations, So you tell the employee why you went to them, and then you delegate with control. Delegation with control means that you give the delegation to them. They take the decisions, but you are monitoring behind the scene. You can be monitoring. There's many ways to monitor. You can have KPIs. You can have meetings with them, follow a meeting, whatever, but you're not in top of them. They are doing their own things, and what you're doing is having the control how the situation is going, and if going according to your vision. So now you create a environment of trust that is very important to have in any relationship, and it creates independency, because the employees now feel that they can take decisions, and you set regular check back. As I said, you have feedback meeting, you can have KPIs, many ways to control, but without doing micromanagement. The third thing that is a terrible mistake is poor communication. The poor communication is something that really mislead, create misunderstanding. When you don't communicate clear what you want to do, it creates confusion. So we can create misunderstandings, so the employee can feel confused, and maybe they take the wrong decision because that's what they understood. So this is a very terrible situation also, that having a poor communication. And that creates disengagement, because the people don't feel that they know they're doing the correct thing, so they don't feel engaged. So when the employees have this, that really damages the morale and the efficiency. So as a consequence of that poor communication, it really undermines the morale of the employee and their efficiency. So it's very terrible. Before we continue, let's say hello, people that are joining to the room. We have Iris Alvarado, we have Diana, we have Refugio, we have Aleika, we have Dr. Fortune, Alan Roberts, Jay Pascua, my friend, amigo, Sticky Dosa, Plantin, Indira, Dr. Sharito. We have here in Facebook Lamara, Hamad, we have Trisha, Ann, Morris, Chrome, we have Julie Gutierrez, we have Santel Williams, we have Stanford Chouari, we have Kaysen Kasim, Evangelist Navini, Evangelist Sara, we have Muhammad Najib, Tanvir, Rahema, Wayan, well, several more. Facebook always, thank you, the people of HOD Radio Network, because always our great connection. So let's continue. Let's continue talking about. Remember that we are going to open the mics in some minutes, so stay tuned if you want to talk. If something resonates with you, you have any experience that you want to share, any expertise that you want to share, I'm going to open the mic to you in some minutes, okay? So that when talking, the third topic we were talking was the poor communication. We said that the poor communication leads to misunderstanding and undermines the morale, and also it affect the efficiency because the people felt lost, How you can avoid the poor communication? Well, as we said that the leader has to have clear vision, also has to have clarity in the way he communicates. So this is a technique. And I can tell you here, what the communication is one of the key things in any business, and unfortunately, it's one of the most things that are missed in the business. The leader doesn't know how to communicate properly. And I always don't stress more this. If you have issues communicating, hire a coach. Hire a coach that can train you. Seek for mentorship. I'm a leadership and resilient coach, and part of my expertise is communication. So in this stage, I see people that are expert in this. Dr. Ashadi is an expert. Indira is an expert. So there are many people here that can be. Refugio is an expert. So there are many people here that can be a support. So if you're having this problem, look for help. Hire a coach. So because this is so important, having a clear communication. So when you prioritize the transparency and the clarity, it creates an environment that will foster that sense that you're communicating properly. You need to have regular meeting with your team. This is something that also is a big mistake. Some leaders, when they are in leadership position, they don't meet with their teams. They don't meet with their employees. They create that shield, and they isolate themselves. And you need to create an environment where the people feel that you as a leader are communicating the things that are going in the company. You don't want to be in that position that the things are known because of gossip, a lot of gossip, a lot of noise, a lot of information that comes from the exterior. That creates a very, very sense of, that the people can think whatever they believe, and that creates a great problem. So when you set these regular meetings, it can be monthly meetings, weekly meeting with your management, and monthly with all the employee meetings. You can do the quarterly meetings. Every quarter, establish a meeting where you put how the company is doing, and about the next project that are coming, what you are expecting from the employees, etc., 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 and that creates that sense of communication. So so that when you have that effective communication, that people feel that they really are listening, because again, it's not only you talking, it's hearing them. So the communication is bidirectional. It has to be you to them, and then to you. You have to have the feedback. So that's the way the communication has to work. The third mistake that leadership does is failure to adapt to the change. This is a terrible mistake. In today's world, it's a terrible mistake when a leader doesn't adapt to the change. Today's world is evolving, is in constant change. And one of the biggest mistakes is when the company fails to adapt to the change. I'm going to put here a case study that we're going to hear later on. There is a case of Blockbuster. Everybody knows what happened with Blockbuster. I'm not going to talk now because I'm going to talk in the second part of the show about that case. But Blockbuster is a great example of a company that had poor communication and failed to adapt to the change. because they knew that the streaming was coming, so they didn't do nothing. The logic, the common sense had been that Blockbuster had merged to streaming, and they missed that, and that's how it came Netflix. And Blockbuster went to bankruptcy. So when you fail to adapt to the change, because that is very typical, the leader that always has done something in a way, in a very traditional way, and at some point the market is heading to other direction. If you don't have that clarity that you need to make the swift and change and adapt to the change, there's where you're gonna fail. And I want to say something here about that adapting to the change. It's not only you, it's your employees. So one of the things that the leader has to do is not only have a clarity how they can see the change coming and communicate to the employees how they can make this happen, adapting to the change. It's that the employees have that clarity too. So that employee, when they see things coming, if you have a good communication with them, they can give you ideas how to adapt to the change. So this has to be something in evolution. When the companies create that culture of adapting to the change, fostering innovation. I said that last week, the case of Google. Google is a great example. The management of Google is always encouraging the employees to adapt to changes and innovating, and that's what has kept them in the top of the trend always, because they're always thinking in the how to adapt things to what the market is needing. So in today's rapid evolving business, if you fail to adapt, you become obsolescent. You become obsolescent because now the people will put you beside. That's what happened with Blockbuster. They became obsolescent. So companies that resist to change are putting the business behind their competitors, because their competitors maybe will embrace the innovation and you will fail. So that's what's going to happen. Very easy. Let's continue saying that hello to people that are coming. I see Asep. I see Leslie Flower. I see Togola. Ahmad. I see Priyanka. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. Cecilia. Iris. Priyanka. Okay, Priyanka. Dana, Jai, Alan, Aleika, and here we have in Facebook Wayan Rapi, we have Zulfkar, Abdullah, we have Azim, Muhammad, we have Santaya, Noami, John, Mary, Stevener, Asif, Nora Sagar, Maria McCullen, Astan Ali, Tamer Kabir, Asid, Baker Harris, Marine Jahan, Mathar Butt, Ali, Arabic Ali, Assad, Suhai. Wow, thank you, the people in Facebook, the big audience. Thank you. Our show, we air it simultaneously in Facebook Live in a channel called HOD Radio Network. It's a Christian channel. I encourage you that you can visit the channel. It's wonderful. There are a lot of pastors and counselors. They always are sharing their vision, their shows. So I'm very glad that I do this show, because the people always is there. After I finish, I always leave the recording. So if you don't have time, or have some friends that want to share this with them, I'm going to put the recording maybe this afternoon, okay? So the fifth failure that we're going to talk here. No, okay. Let's see how we can avoid that failure to adapt to the change. Sorry, I missed that. So now we know that we can fail, but how we can avoid failing. So one of the things that you have to do is you have to be on top of the technology. You have to be always knowing what's trending. For example, the AI, the eruption of the AI. If you don't go with the trend with the AI, you will miss it. You will miss it. So you need to adapt to the technology. The second thing that you have to do is always encourage employees to bring ideas. Create a culture of innovation. Foster it. There are companies that even promote it, give bonuses for the people that bring ideas. So you foster the culture of innovation in your employee, and they will feel that they are encouraged to think differently, creatively. So they will think that they can really believe to bring ideas and propose new solutions. So that will keep you always competitive. So finishing the fifth failure, I'm gonna say here, one of the most biggest mistake that is ignoring the employee's well-being. This is a terrible situation, my friends, that a leader can do when they feel that their employee are not being taken care properly. I always say that the way a leader can connect is being people. You connect being human being. So if you don't care of your employees' well-being, you don't care of them. And they will know it, that you don't care. And when you don't care, that puts you in a terrible position, because your employee, first, they will not be loyal to you. Second, that they will don't feel that they belong to they'll be there because you're paying a salary. That they can go, they will leave your company. They will not have no trust, no loyalty, nothing. So when you take care of the well-being is different. So when you neglect, when you don't care of them, you're going to drive your employee to burnouts. Where's there come the burnout? Because you're always stressing the employees, they're overworking, and that leads to burnouts. And also creates a high turnover, because the employee, when they have the opportunity, they will leave the company, definitively. They will not stay. And of course, it reduces the productivity, because you have burnouts, people that they are working in a stressful situation. They don't do more than they need, and that will reduce the productivity. So those leaders that fail to take care of the well-being, they really are hurting the mental and the physical health of their employee, and in the long term, they will be losing valuable talent. This way, they will be losing valuable talents. So how you can avoid that? How can we avoid the lack of taking care of the well-being of their employees? Well, they have to create an environment where you promote work-life balances. You have to offer wellness program. You have to recognize the employee's contribution. Create a sense that any contribution, you recognize it. Have regular check with your meeting, with your teams, addressing any concerns they have, and always taking care of the well-being as a priority. Again, look for coaching, mentorship. Part of the coaching that I do is exactly this. My coaching is trying to connect your business success with your personal fulfillment. Because one of the things that my friends, that I discovered, and this is a lesson of life, because I went through a situation in my life, people that know me know that I was an international hostage. They stayed 5 years being a hostage. Before I was a CEO of a large oil and gas company here in the US, that is Citgo Petroleum. And one of the things that I did in my past and in my previous life, I always call it my previous life. I was a guy that was kind of heading to be burned out. I almost lost my family because I didn't take care of my family. I had my family broken. I didn't take care of my family. I was a workaholic. I was drinking because of the stress of the situation. So I was leading to be a terrible mess as a leader, because this is what happened when you prioritize only the business. When you only prioritize the business, you fail to have that balance with your personal life. when I went through this situation and I got to the reflection, by the way, my reflection, I put it in my book, my book that is called From Hero to Billion. I talk about this, how all the situation that I went through, but for me, the most important is the reflection. And the reflection is that you had to have a perfect balance in your life. Everything in the life has to have a balance. So one of the most important things is that it not only take care of your balance, but the balance of your employees. So those leaders that really take care of their employee are those leaders that are going to be successful, because the people will know and feel that you really take care of them, because now you're an empathic leader. You're being empathic, and then the people will understand that you really are taking care of them. So how you can avoid this? How you can avoid doing this? As I said, promoting life balance as a culture of your business. Create programs, wellness programs. Those successful companies, I will say again, Google's, they have rooms to the people, relax and have wellness program, massage, a lot of things that innovative companies do today. Well, we said here that I'm going to open the mics in a few minutes. So who want to talk, raise their hand, because we're coming to the end to give the opportunity to the people to talk. Dr. Ashal, I'm going to give you mics in some minutes. One of the case study that I will bring, because it's a very representative, is the falling of Blockbuster. Blockbuster, the people there of my generation grew up with Blockbuster. Blockbuster I was a big fan of Blockbuster when the VHS and the DVDs. You went to the store, a weekend, you rented the movie, the popcorn in your house. It was a revolution at the time, and it was very popular. There was Blockbuster all over. All over you could see Blockbuster. What happened with this company? That when that things begin to change and begin to erupt the streaming, appeared a company called Netflix. And Netflix began to be more popular, because now you don't have to go to any store to buy or to rent a VHS or a DVD, because now you can purchase it online. And Blockbuster, even they knew that was happening, they had a lack of vision. They have lack of communication, because if they had better communication, maybe a loyal employee could have said, "Hey, my friend, you're missing this," and they have lack of adapting to the changes. So when and by the way, they didn't take care of the people. They had a terrible relation with employees. So they failed the 5 things that we said here. They made the 5 mistakes that we have talked here, that I'm going to resume here the 5 mistakes. They had a lack of vision. They didn't know what was going in the market. They was micromanaging, because they were always pinpointing the people. They didn't have autonomy with their employees. They had a very poor communication. They failed to adapt to the change, and at the end, they didn't take care of their people. What happened? It went to bankruptcy. It disappeared. That the generation of today doesn't know what is Blockbuster. So Blockbuster could have been a successful company, but it failed. It failed. There are many more examples, but this is a very representative example, a company that have missed these 5 points and how they failed. But I also talk about how you can avoid it. And I'm going to finalize here to open the mics, saying that there is a wonderful author, a coach that has several books that talks about this. That is John C. Maxwell. John C. Maxwell, everybody knows about who is the Maxwell Leadership. Maxwell Leadership is one of the most important leadership schools here worldwide. He's a very famous coach, and he certifies coach in his methodology, that is the Maxwell methodology. So Maxwell is a great example how you can become a great leader. People can get certified as a Maxwell coach. So Maxwell has extensive books written about talking about how can overcome this mistake. He has a book that is called that 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. I recommend it because talk about all the techniques that you have to do to be a great leader. And Maxwell always is emphasizing about the one of the things that the true leader has to have is have a vision and always having continuous improvement. So those leaders that have vision and always are seeking to improve are the leaders that are going to be successful. And he's always stressing the importance of the communication, the importance of the adaptability, and the importance of creating trust with their employees. So all these elements are the ones that we have talked today. So as conclusion, to open the mics, I'm going to give the mic to Refugio. Let me put Refugio to the stage. Okay, Doctor, I'm going to give you a mic in a few minutes and I'm going to the conclusion, Refugio, okay? So as a conclusion, I'm going to say here that if you as a leader avoid these 5 mistakes, you have part of the war already won. Because if you avoid doing these 5 things, you have a lot of road that you have run. So said this, I'm going to open the mics. I believe that, I don't know if it was Refugio first or Dr. Ashad. I don't know who came first.
It was Refuge first, and then Dr. Arshad, and then Sharit.
Okay. So go ahead, Alice. I'm going to give the mic to you to handle the people.
Okay, just want to say welcome to those who are joining in. So just going to go through the names. So we have Indira, Jay, Alan, Iris, Cecilia, Leslie, Azib, and this is Claire Istaku, Deborah, Alicia, Dr. Fortune, MD, Sujan. We have Nisha, Lisa, Fevik, and Dr. Brittany and Kenyuchu joining in. All right, over to you, Refugio, and then Dr. Arshad.
All right, Jose, thank you for your talk today. I love your 5 points, so thank you for that. I just want to hit on a couple of them. You know, being a senior leader for a global pharmaceutical company, you know, being innovative and being, you talked about change, but being change ready is extremely important, and being able to develop visions to take the organization and help shape the future, extremely important. We should always be thinking of those things. And, you know, for me and myself, I'm always thinking of ways to drive the business forward. I'm thinking of new markets, right? As Latino, I'm thinking of ways to plug into the Latino market, for example. Those things are so critical to our business and really to any business, as an example. We talked about AI and other things, you know, developing these visions, doing our homework, and once you have those visions, being able to sell them. So with great communication, being able to tell business stories, you know, those compelling stories to get backing for your vision and your ideas to move forward. All those are extremely important. So I just love everything you hit, but being change ready, you know, change is 100% going to happen in business, or in any industry. So being ready, be able to drive it and be able to communicate strongly to drive those things and get people aligned, so critical. So I just want to applaud you for those insights.
Well, thank you very much, Refugio. Well, very well said. Very well said. This is something that I can stress more. Any leader always has to be on top of what's going in the market and look for the innovation. The true leaders are the ones that are always smelling where the innovation is coming, and even they're going ahead. So what Refugio is saying here is exactly that he is always trying to look for new markets. And the Latino market, by the way, here in the U.S., the Latino market is growing so much. So we as a Latino, there's a huge opportunity of growing in the market, because it's not only growing in quantity, it's growing in quality. That's something important because it's not only the quantity, it's the quality because the Latino immigration is becoming more and more wealthy. And now you have wealthy Latino company. For example, Goya. Goya is a great example how Goya has grown here in the U.S. So thank you for sharing this, Refugio. Dr. Ashad.
Hi, Jose. Thank you very much for having me up here. Like you, I've also been into an oil company, and luckily, I've worked out of the UK and led teams for the three factories that we had in the UK, right across the world, putting in projects, and I have actually had great success in putting in projects, and I believe in a teamwork. You've brought out excellent points, but one point that I would like to bring out, and a couple of more also. I will try not to repeat what you said. Basically, I believe that leaders of today are so scared that their jobs may go that they fail to develop successors. Now, that is one of the biggest faults where organizations actually fail themselves. And therefore, leadership gaps are created, there's a loss of talent, and in the end, there could be a succession crisis if the CEO of the company actually decides to resign or go somewhere else. So obviously, I have always believed in mentoring and coaching, what you've talked about, Jose, and developing future leaders. And that's the only way, in my mind, by which you can actually have successors coming after you who know exactly what they're about. Nobody is a great person. Nobody is excellent. Or don't ever think yourself to be an angel. That's what I believe in. And, luckily I've never had any bad habits, like drinking or smoking or anything else. I've just been a perfectionist. But another important point that I'd like to bring out is that never ever surround yourself with yes men or yes women.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as having people agree to everything that you say. Everybody has their own opinion about whatever you might have to say in a certain meeting. Maybe you made a poor decision, so maybe somebody else has a better thought process, and therefore, having people of different opinions actually avoids stagnation within the organization.
Correct.
And then, I believe that you touched on burnout, Jose, very well. Excellent talk by you, I must say. Obviously, one should care about oneself at the same time to avoid burnout, like what you mentioned. And therefore, I am, after a lot of leading of companies, still am leading a company right now today. And besides teaching as a professor, I believe in keeping myself physically fit. And probably I'm too old to jog now, but I love going for a brisk walk so as to keep myself emotionally and mentally, alert all the time. And then, of course, I was interviewed recently by some leaders from Europe, and they asked me, how do I keep going? And I talked about, taking the right vitamins to keep your energy levels going at the same time. So you've got to be accountable. Very few leaders, unfortunately, today are not accountable. They think they can do whatever they want. And therefore, you've got to set clear expectations and track your own progress as a leader as to You see, like, we're always holding others responsible for our failures. Sadly, that's not to be done. That should never ever, like, be part of something that one should inculcate. Now, another thing is that if somebody wants to bring about changes, welcome them. Otherwise, if you resist change, you're bringing about stagnation, and actually you're becoming irrelevant as a leader, and that is why you've missed opportunities. And so, therefore, like, even I tell my university students, you've got to embrace innovation, and you have to, be very quick to adapt to changing circumstances, by leading by example by yourself. And when I say this, like, when I started working earlier on in the 70s and 80s, of course, one always had a secretary, and one used to dictate. Now, of course, you've got voice typing. So, the world has changed so radically. Even the comments that I write on LinkedIn or inter-office memos that we have on Gmail, on our own setups within the organization, I believe in just voice typing. And so there you have done away with the secretary with the mobile in your hands. So that's how you can really adapt wonderfully to change. But those are the few points that I'd like to have, because as I get free in November next, probably I'll be having my own audio shows and events also. So, but thank you so much, Jose, as always, for having me say a few words. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, thank you very much, Dr. Rashad. You're always putting, all your wisdom. And I I love when you said, never surround by yes men. And that's so true. One of the, I didn't mention it there, but it should be the sixth failure. People, sometimes their ego like to have people that are yes men, because you want to hear that everything you're saying, everybody's saying yes man, and that's one of the big mistake too, because you don't have the check balance. You don't know if you're taking the right decision, you're doing the right things, because nobody's saying nothing to you. And when you fail, you're gonna fail. Nobody's gonna take the responsibility on that. And the other thing is the accountability, very important, because it's part of the ethics. A leader has to be accountable. If you take wrong decision, you have to be accountable. So very, very good your point, Dr. Rashad. Charito.
Hello. Good evening. It's 9:47 here in the Philippines. Good evening, Jose, Alison, Dr. Ars, Indira, Refuge, and the 18 our friends are listening at the lounge. Jose, I was listening to your 5 critical leadership mistakes that destroy your company. I've been, I don't know if you will laugh at me, but, I have observed that I said to myself, will this be the number 6? Because you see, everywhere in the world, around the world, I would feel that a leader will be mistaken if that leader does not blend well with the powers that be in the government. If he, swims against the tide, if he earns the ire of a top-notch official, it's more likely that his leadership and his company will be affected. I'm talking about this because you look at Alibaba. It's the biggest one before with Jack Ma. And then he said something incontrovertible to the government. And he found himself went kaput. So things like that. And I have seen that in my country. I don't know if it's really a sound observation, but those who have who got the ire.
Oh, I missed the communication, so something happened. Let me join again.
Eye to eye with the government in your country. That's only an observation. I don't know, but I would like that to put in number 6 if I am to think about my company in the future. Because even if you're the biggest one, you have $20 billion, whatever. If you earn somebody who holds the pen, most likely tomorrow your company will be dwindling. But I don't know. That's only my observation. Thank you very much.
Well, Charito, thank you for your commentary. I was joking when you were talking about the 6 because it can be many. I really always select 5 because it's the most common thing that it can be more and more, of course, more. We can be talking hours here about things that people do and make mistakes. I'm going to give the mic to Indira. Please follow me, Indira. Indira is a great leader, and she has always having great topics that she's always talking. So please follow her. Follow everybody, by the way. Follow everybody here. So thank you very much, Indira, for coming.
Thank you. Can you hear me right?
Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for having me here, and thank you for always raising awareness about important topics about the leadership. One point that has been mentioned but not as enlisted as a 5, and as you mentioned, Jose, there are always more than 5. But one which is particularly very important, not just when we are talking about what is critical to destroy the company, I would rather always focus on what is critical to destroy people. It is the lack of accountability, which is indeed a common theme in many discussions about critical leadership mistakes that the leaders make. And it often appears in the top list because it's really fundamentally affects the people, the organizational culture, the performance. And if we are looking at the surveys and the report about good governance, the accountability, the lack of accountability is the one of the top ones, And when leaders fail to establish and maintain accountability, it can really lead to a range of issues like decreased trust, which is really employees may lose the trust in leadership in the organization, institution where they work. Then such leaders create a low moral, a lack of accountability can really lead to frustration and demotivation among the team members, or inefficiency without accountability in the process with the people and the project. We really may suffer from delays or poor execution, as there is no clear ownership or responsibility. And we also create a blame culture there it can foster a culture where the blame is shifted rather than the problems being addressed constructively. So there are still plenty of other issues, but I don't want to take all the time. There are still another excellent speakers who would like or raised already the hand. Thank you very much for having me here and giving me opportunity to talk. Thank you.
Wow, indeed, this is a great topic. By the way, it's so important that I believe that I'm going to make a show only talking about that, because it's so important. When Indira was talking, I was remembering the case of Wells Fargo here in the U.S. I don't know if people are familiar with the case of Wells Fargo here. It was a big mess. How the the leadership of the Wells Fargo was misleading, was going to unethical behavior, And not only that, they were blaming their employee after the situation exploded. And it was a terrible situation that Wells Fargo really had a moment that they could survive because they're a big bank, but they went through a lot of internal situations. They lost a lot of employees, people they fired, and people they decided to resign because of all this problem. And because why? Unethical behavior and lack of accountability. So great example indeed. I love the topic. Lachelle, thank you for being here. Lachelle, the mic are yours.
Thank you so much for having me, Jose. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien, muy bien. Muchas gracias.
Love it. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. I know I'm a little late, but I just wanted to acknowledge you for that. I came in late, so I'm not sure if this has been shared, but I would say confidence is important, and I would say courageous confidence, because as a leader, a lot of times you're going to be called to do things that other people are not going to like. And it's important for you to have that clarity and that confidence to go ahead and do it anyway. I have a saying that I tell the people that are on my team, or sometimes clients, because everyone is different, with your interactions and relationships. So the quote that I have is, we're building the plane while we're flying. Because a lot of times as a leader, you're going into uncharted territory. You don't have a blueprint or a roadmap as to where you're going. And it's important for you to have that confidence for people who are connected to you, or maybe they're following you. It's just important. So I would say courageous confidence is something to be mindful of as well. And thanks for having me.
Well, Lachelle, you said you came late. Let me tell you, the first point that I mentioned was lack of vision that had to do what you're saying, because the lack of vision is what you're saying, that you're flying the plane in the middle of the air without no direction, or you're having a big ship in the middle of the sea that doesn't know where it's going. So lack of vision, it has to do with that not only doesn't have the vision, but when you have that clear vision, and you know where you have to go, no matter what the decision that you have to take, because that's another thing. Sometimes leaders have to take strong decisions. Sometimes a leader has to take strong decisions. So there has to be a combination of the clarity and the vision, but at the same time, as Lachelle said, having confidence that there is the right decision to take, and then communicate properly. Communicate properly to the employees, and not only communicate, having the empathy with them, because sometimes that decision can be, some jobs are going to be lost. So you need to have the way to communicate to employee what's going on, why the decision is being taken, and having the empathy with them. Companies that for some reason have reduction in the employee, how they can have a program to placement of them. So there is a combination. All of this is a combination. Thank you for all the people that came. We're coming to the end. We have 2 minutes. I'm going to be giving the final message to close this show. It was a wonderful talk. Well, I said I'm going to give you 1 minute talk, because I have to close in 1 minute, because I have that show in radio that is very tight. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to say a word. I said, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jose, for allowing me to speak for 1 minute. I don't know how I got into this room. I was driving to work. Thank you so much. I look forward to listening to the recording. This is really amazing. I work with the City of Houston, Office of New Americans, with our new mayor, John Whitmire. So I'm forever grateful, looking forward to listen and learn from each and every one of you. Thank you.
I said, hear the recording, because the people that are in the stage, I can tell you, Indira, Lachelle, Dr. Assad, Charito, and Refugio that was here are all great leaders. All are great leaders with great background. So all the shares that we had today were wonderful. So thank you, the people that came today to the show. I'm going to close now saying, get connected. I do this show every Monday morning. I talk about leadership and resilience. And as I said, I write my newsletter during the weekend. Subscribe to my newsletter so you can know what is going to be the topic we're going to be talking next Monday, like today. I try to share the vision of the topic. Normally I do five topics. Could be more. If we said there can be many mistakes, can be much more, but we subscribe it to 5. So what we were talking here today about the 5 mistakes, and then we open the mic so that people can talk and give their vision, like today happened. I'm gonna conclude here saying that I'm gonna leave the recording. Please get connected with me because I always are talking about this. I'm a leadership and resilience coach. If anybody has want to contact me, just DM me. I have my webpage, joseconnect.com. You can go to my webpage and you will find everything what I do there. That I promote my book, I do public speaking, and do this show. So, said this, we're going to get to the end. Allison, if you want to say something in final words.
Okay, I just want to remind those who are listening in to just to invite somebody else when they are coming next week. You know? Mm-hmm. And if you have not yet subscribed to Jose's newsletter, please ensure you do so.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, said this, we're going to close now. We came to the end. Thank you for the people that came here. Thank you for the wonderful stage that people came to speak. So, I'm going to close here. Bye.